Hey everyone, it's the Knitty Professor here today with the question of whether by knitting we can beat inflation. It's a big question and it's a little bit complicated, but let's dig into it. We can just start by taking this yarn here. I'm not even going to tell you what the retail price per skein would be on this cashmere yarn. It's 100% cashmere. Probably not a way to beat inflation, but one of the most obvious responses to that question of can you beat inflation by, making your own clothes is that, the labor's free. I mean, should it be free? Let's just say that when I put labor into something like this, it's a labor of love. And by the way, this is Moxie. It's my son's puppy. I'm trying to keep her out of trouble. Benny's in here too, but he's resting. Needless to say. So, making your own garments. How can you... I guess the question is not necessarily can you save money by making your own garments, because the answer is that you can. The question is how. And the answer is not by buying 100% cashmere yarn. But you want to buy quality yarn, right? I mean, you don't want to just run to the equivalent of Grant's. Maybe you remember that store, Woolrich, right? And just buy whatever cheap, not good stuff they have on hand. I was going to use the S word, but we can't do that. It's not okay. Can only do it in my novels. But you can use good yarn, right? Because there are ways to get good yarn besides just buying at retail. I've gotten like half of my yarn from either thrift stores or from friends who are destashing, or just, even, sometimes even at fiber festivals. Hey, get out of my loom. At fiber festivals, sometimes they have like a giveaway table. They're actually, if you're kind of creative about it, you can find destashers on Facebook, probably on TikTok, even just probably on Google. And I've just had really good luck at Goodwill. But sometimes just letting, if you have a lot of fiber crafting friends, you can just kind of let them know that, look, if you need to rehome any yarn, I'm game. And I've had any number of people rehome yarn to me, and then it was free, and a lot of times it's really good. And I can make garments that are nice like this, right? You're not going to find this at Kohl's, right? And then cost is very low. I've knit several sweaters out of thrifted yarn that probably, when push came to shove, cost me $30. So it is possible to just lean on that free labor and find yarn that's inexpensive. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend going with poor quality yarn, because you want garments that you're going to wear. You want garments that are going to hold up. And I've used some superwash yarn that wasn't expensive, that was probably industrially produced, that isn't going to hold up very well. And I wouldn't do that again. I would sooner spend $200 on yarn and have the garment hold up, because another way that you can keep it going is to invest in mending skills. So when you have a garment that is beautifully made with high quality yarn that you love, mending it becomes sort of a non-issue. Of course you're going to mend it, and then it's going to last even longer. I mean, a sweater like this, the one I have on, is probably going to last for decades. It's going to last for decades versus, something I bought at Walmart that might last a couple years. Obviously, you have to take care of it, right? But that's another thing about wool, is you don't really have to wash it all the time. It's kind of self-cleaning in a way. Some of the cotton sweaters I wear, probably end up throwing them in the wash every couple of wears, but something like this I can wear multiple times. And then I just watch how I wash it, right? Can even hand wash it. I have a hand wash setting in my washer, but it doesn't cost a whole lot to hand wash something, and just all you need is a little wool wash. So another thing that you can do in order to save money, like to get yarn, is to get old knits. Get your hand on old knits that maybe you could from a thrift store, or someone who just inherited them or outgrew them, and just unravel them and use that yarn. Hey, Moxie, come here. Moxie! She's so curious. She's like 5 months old. Come on. You're a big girl for 5 months. Come and say hi. Yeah, come and say hi. But don't stand on my cashmere. She wants to stand on my yarn. Come on the bed. Come on. Good girl. There we go. And keep a better eye on her. Isn't she pretty? So anyhow, yeah, you're very sweet. We're good friends, but I'm trying to train her up a little bit. She loves to jump on me with muddy paws. That doesn't work. What in the heck are you doing now? All right, so repair instead of replace. Now here's something, I've got like a long list here of things that we can do. So yeah, so you can upcycle old sweaters, you can unravel them and use the yarn and make new sweaters out of them. It's really not very hard. Okay, so repair and replace. What about the idea of heating costs? My energy bill went up 50%. I have budget billing, and literally the bill went up for this coming year 50%. It's not good. You know, you've got countries like China that they're investing in every power under the sun because they know they're going to need it. Whereas here, oh no, wind energy, oh no, EVs, no, we don't want that. You know, so we're just shooting ourselves in the foot and literally making the amount of energy available to us low, therefore raising the price. So I'm just going to lower the thermostat this year over what I did last year. So that's one way that I can save money by wearing my hand knits. Wool, of course, I can do that, right? So we can lower the thermostat if we wear our wool garments. That's a very direct way to save substantial amount of money, I would say. You know, if you lower the temperature in your thermostat even by like 3 degrees, you know, just put on a wool sweater, a vest, you know, even a cowl, a shawl, you can save real money that way. You could probably save enough money to afford cashmere yarn. Maybe. So there are other ways you can sell your skills. You can sell the things that you knit. You can sell caps. You can sell gloves. You can sell scarves, sweaters, socks. I'm not sure you're going to get your labor's worth of money back out of that, but from the standpoint that you didn't pay for your labor, you know, it's like it's something to keep in mind. Or some people sell patterns, or they sell lessons or classes, you know, there's that too. I mean, there are plenty of people who at fiber festivals and this kind of thing will offer classes in spinning, knitting, and whatever. I mean, you've got the skills. Sometimes people think, oh, I could never do that. But you can teach a beginner to knit. You can teach a beginner to crochet. You can teach someone to do, you know, whatever it is. Like I could teach color work. I could teach color work, you know, be a way to get some money. Designing patterns. I've heard people complain, you know, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. But, you know, it's like a stream. I think one of the things that we want to keep in mind is, you know, especially in this economy where things are just so uncertain. Just saw a news story from me the other day about a farmer in Idaho who's between the immigration raids and the tariffs. I mean, they're caught big time in this squeeze. They, you know, a lot of farmers are about to go bankrupt. I mean, it's serious, you know, so you have to have more than one income stream. And if you are, you know, selling classes and selling stuff you made and selling patterns along with all the other stuff that you're doing, you know, it's just that much more money that you can count on coming in. So yeah, so you can sell, you can swap and barter too, you know, kind of like what I was saying before about maybe you're in a fiber group and some people are destashing and maybe you have, you know, a finished shawl or something you could contribute. Maybe you have some old magazines that you inherited from your grandmother and somebody would be interested in having those because they got patterns from the 60s or whatever it is. So bartering and swapping, it's another way to just leverage the current sort of uncertain economy in a way that favors all the people involved. So here's a smaller way that you can avoid some of the expenses associated with knitting. So if you are buying your yarn and your books or whatever, if you source that stuff locally, sometimes you can avoid shipping costs, you know, especially if you're to the level of maybe you're buying fleece, like a sheep that you would herd sheep. Yeah, wouldn't you? It's a Belgian Shepherd. So of course you would herd goats, sheep, right? Get a friend of yours that has sheep and that, you know, has some fleece. Maybe they can give you a bargain, or they've got one that's defective and that they would be willing to unload for, you know, a low price, or heck, maybe even, you know, unload, you know, totally. Something worth thinking about. And here's another idea that maybe some people wouldn't think of, but you can knit household items. I even saw a claim that you could knit heads for your dish mop. You know, I suppose if you have the right yarn, you probably could do that. You can totally knit dishcloths, towels, stuff like that. So if you're running low on washcloths and you've got some scrap cotton yarn, you can just, you know, just knit your own dishcloths. You can knit bags, you know. There are a lot of things that you can knit that aren't just clothes. And I'm kind of guilty of forgetting that. But I have knit dishcloths in the past, and I do enjoy using them. And they last forever. You know, they're going to last way better than something that was woven in Pakistan by someone who has even less money than we do. Gifting. This was something that was occurring to me. So if you want to make a really nice gift for someone and you invest your labor in it, you probably could come away saving money. So if instead of, you know, buying a TV for your son, you make a cabled sweater, And maybe, okay, you spend $200 worth of yarn, but the TV costs $300. You save a little money. You know, it could be a really fancy gift, a very personal gift, a very meaningful gift that you don't have to spend a whole lot of money on, especially if it's to the level of a scarf or, you know, mittens, gloves, hats, that kind of thing, a vest. Really, you can probably come in at a pretty reasonable amount of money for a gift that they're going to remember and treasure more than anything that was made in China, you know. So gifting is a good idea. How about this? When I'm knitting, I'm not buying anything. And arguably, when I'm knitting, there are a lot of other things that are not good that I could be doing that I'm not. Because knitting is kind of, hey, don't eat the Moxie. She's eating the plants. No, you don't want to eat that. Come here. She's very curious she hasn't been in this room hardly at all. So anyhow, I'm not doing a lot of things that might cost me money. I'm not eating out. I'm not going to Kohl's and buying fast fashion stuff. I'm not driving around using gas. I mean, there are a lot of things that I could be doing that I'm not doing because I'm knitting that are more harmful in ways. I mean, a lot of things. I can think of a lot of things. Habits. You know, even like I told y'all, I'm in a musical and I'm knitting. And I see people, you know, picking their hangnails. I mean, they're just fidgeting. I don't know how they survive all the rest without doing something but sit there and try to not do stuff that is less good than knitting. So in any case, you're curbing impulse spending. You're not shopping. You're not doing some of those addictive other things that you could be doing. Because guess what? You're addicted to knitting, and that's a good thing. If you want addiction, I would pick this one for sure. Going beyond that, what about the therapeutic value? Can you save on therapy by engaging in a craft like knitting that is soothing, that's calming, that's comforting, that's meditative, that takes your mind off all the trauma that you've experienced in your life? Maybe. You know, I think it's definitely a help. And for me, the creative aspect, especially the creativity that goes into my writing, but I think I would probably really, really need therapy if I didn't do the hobbies. Hey, Moxie. Come here. Come here, girl. You should get back up here. Come on this side. Come on. Come on. Come on, girl. She's got a mind of her own. Petting the dog and knitting. Yeah, those activities, they go together perfectly, don't they? So therapy. Therapy. The dog helped me with my therapy needs too. In fact, when my son got this puppy, part of his rationale was we know that Benny's going to die. And he's like, well, now we have another puppy. I'm like, we sure do. We sure do. I think you licked my glasses. So in any case, therapy. I think there's an argument to be made that you can save on therapy by doing something that gives you the kind of joy and satisfaction that knitting, crocheting, all those other crafts do. And then as a final thought, you know, sometimes I feel like the world is just crashing around us. Now, hopefully that's not the case, and I'm just awfulizing. And that's a word that my mother used to use. She's like, don't awfulize, don't borrow trouble. But I think there's something to be said for the notion that if things go seriously downhill, we can rely on some of these really practical skills to survive. Making your own clothes, you know, because there's more to knitting than just making a pretty sweater. It's transferable to a lot of survival-related things. So, I think if we want to end on a more positive note than the doomsday, which I already covered in a previous video, let's just agree that knitting is a wonderful way to make garments. It's a wonderful way to make things besides garments. It's soothing. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. And it just gives you joy, you know. And sometimes when you don't have control over high prices, inflation, whatever it is, doing without, just having a soothing activity that gives you joy can be enough. It can be enough. Plus petting the dog. Right, Moxie? Hey, Moxie, do you want to say goodbye? Moxie. Say goodbye. We'll see y'all soon. Have a great end of your week. Bye.